I got my permanent residence visa for Japan last week. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks, guys. So you're back at my channel. Thank you. Wow, thank you so much for joining me here, for taking time out of your busy day to learn about something you'll probably never need to learn about.
本途時には携帯電話の電源をお切りください。また、それ以外の場所ではマナーモードに切り替え、通話はご遠慮願います。座席で足を伸ばしたり組んだりしますと。
Alright, so when you're first trying to get this thing, the first thing you gotta do is figure out what you need to pull together. And when you go online, this is what I printed from the internet. You'll see there's a lot of crap that you have to pull together to convince the government of Japan that you are okay and you can live here. Let's talk about this because there's a lot of stuff here. So if you're kind of intimidated by this whole process, you should be, because there's a lot and it's just kind of annoying. And when I went to the Ministry of Justice website, I found out that it was kind of confusing because there are actually a couple of pages that talk about this, and neither page has all the information on what you need to bring. So one page has, it kind of lists everything that you need, but then it gives you a link to another page that has a link to the application form. You just kind of like wonder, why wouldn't they just put the application form on this page? But that is for them to decide and for you to figure out, because it is confusing, even if you know Japanese. But I think, actually, if you know Japanese, it's a little bit easier. Let's go back. Let's take it a step back. Okay, so we're talking about permanent residence visas today. And that means that there are other kinds of visas. One type of visa is the sightseeing tourist visa, which anybody can get if they just, land in Japan and they're not a criminal. They can go and walk around Japan and explore and be a tourist for 90 days. That's awesome. Anybody can do that. The other kinds of visas that we have are work visas. So work visas are 3 to 5 years, but you need a company sponsor. If you don't have a company sponsor, you can't get a work visa. But what's interesting is that if you get a company sponsor, now I don't recommend doing this, you can then quit that job and still have your visa for another, 2 to 4 or 5 years. It's kind of a loophole. I know some people that have done that. I kind of think that was shady, but that is a way that you can look for your next job. You don't have to be employed, but you don't have to be employed to continue to have your work visa. You have to be employed to get a work visa. So those are 2 types of visas. The third type of visa, which, yay, I have now, is the permanent residence. Residence? I'm not sure. Do you know what? No? Oh, even though it says permanent resident is not for forever, it's still a 7-year to maybe 10-year visa that you have to apply and renew every single time. But it's still way better than the work visa because it's longer, and also because it doesn't depend on an employer. So, life stuff happens. It's nice to have that permanent residence visa where you can actually just live in Japan and not have to be employed without being kind of sneaky about it. And I like that. So that's why I applied, because I wanted to have that longer term, and I wanted to just be like, peace of mind in case stuff happens. So what do we got? Let's go through this together then, shall we? First, you need your application. Application is right here. It's a 4-page document. If you are renewing, never mind, it's a 2-page document, which is great, just 2 pages, where, here we go, let's speed this part up a little bit. You need your picture, your nationality, your date of birth, your name, you need your sex, you need your place of birth, whether or not you're married, your occupation, your hometown city, your address in Japan, your phone number, your cell phone number, your passport number, your date of expiration of your passport, status of residence, period of stay, date of expiration, residence card number, whether or not you're a criminal. Then you need to list where you worked. That's page 1. Page 2. Okay, this is how do you relate to the person who's applying. Is that you? Are you applying? Is it your husband? Is it your wife, your father, mother, child? Others, you have to list again where you are employed now, because you kind of listed it there, but now you listed it here. And then you list your annual income and the phone number where you work. Then you list a family in Japan, so maybe you're married, maybe you're not, but you have, like for me, my wife is here. Did I not tell you that? I got married. Hey. But she lives here. I put her name, I put her date of birth, I put where she works. Then you have a guarantor. So for this process, you may be married, but you also need to have a guarantor in Japan. List the name, list the nationality. Obviously, Japan, I don't even know. Maybe he doesn't have to be Japanese. I'm not sure. Telephone number, cell phone number, their occupation, how they relate to the person who is applying, and then maybe sometimes you might need a legal rep. I didn't need a legal rep. Skip that step. I signed it, I dated it, I turned it in. That was the application. Then, after that, okay, we got the application. Need a picture. So here you get a little picture of yourself, and then on the other side you write your name, and you just actually you glue this to the application, all analog style. Next step. A reason. You need a kind of a letter of intent. So like, why do you want to get a permanent resident visa? So I wrote a little blurb on why I want to get this visa. I talked about, okay, well, I've been working at this company for so many years. I have been in Japan for so many years. I got a promotion. I am applying for a home loan, which, by the way, didn't in the end, buy a house, but that at that time was true. So I put that there. Bing! Wrote that. I'm not sure if you can write that in English. Next. Okay, I didn't need that. Okay, here, I need my, what's it called? I need my residence certificate. So that is blah, blah, blah. I went to the town office. I applied for that. Simple application and a 300 yen fee, which is $2.50 in the US. And boom, I got my residence certificate. After that, I needed proof of employment, which I think was the next one, maybe. Yes, one proof of employment. And then after that, I needed my tax payment certificates from the last 3 years. 1, 2, and 3. And then there's a kind of another form of tax payment. I don't know. So one is Nozei Shoumeisho. The other one is Kaze Shoumeisho. I will leave that to the experts to decide what the difference is. It's pretty much, they just want to know, do you pay taxes here? And if you pay taxes, everyone's happy. And I did. Thank you for asking. After that, you need to pull together my bank statements. Very good. And then I needed to show them my passport. So I brought my passport with me. I needed to show them my residence card. And then I also needed to, my guarantor. So I have to have a guarantor, like we talked about. And my guarantor was my wife. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. And so I had to have her sign this document and stamp it. I had to get her proof of employment. Thank you very much. And I also had to get her, what is this called again? Oh, this is her residence certificate. So I got her residence certificate, and it lists that she is a dependent of mine. Boom. Also that she pays taxes. Ba-boom. And then last but not least, this is an optional one, but I thought I should get it just in case, because actually, if we're being perfectly honest, I was kind of on the low end of the amount of time spent in Japan and working and playing here. And so I thought it would be very helpful if I had some kind of letter of recommendation. And they said, if you have a letter of recommendation from your place of employment, please include it. I asked, they delivered. Thank you so much, guys. I know, if any of you are watching out there, yes, I have a YouTube channel, and thank you very much. Boom. So that wraps up all the documents that you need to apply for your permanent residence visa. Quite a stack.
お近くのインターホンでお知らせください。また、ドアの開閉は自動で行われています。ドアが閉まりかけたたまに
So what do you do with all this crap, you bring it to your nearest immigration bureau. And for me, since I'm living in the Tokyo metropolitan area, that was Shinagawa. And Shinagawa from here is about an hour and a half train ride, a short, stinky bus ride, and a hop, skip, and a jump away. When you get there, go to the second floor. In the second floor, you wait in line. At the end of this line, there's someone who will check all your documents to make sure that they are in order. If they're in order, then you get a number. And then you wait for 2-3 hours until your number gets pulled up. And then, I don't know why all that happened. Then by that time, they finally check all your documents again. And you get you write your name and your address. Right. Because if you are accepted. If they accept you for the permanent resident visa, they will send you a postcard, actually, to say, hey, come pick up your permanent resident visa. And you actually write the address to that. And so I wrote the address, and that was it. I got a little certificate that said, okay, you have submitted your application. Hold on to this certificate, which, yes, don't forget that. Oh my gosh, imagine it if you've lost that. Because you know what? 6 months, 8 months, 9, 10, a year goes by. Eventually, that if you're a good little applicant, that'll come to you and they'll say, okay, bring this postcard, bring this, your passport, bring $75 and bring that proof of application. And what if you didn't have that? Well, then you're screwed. Maybe. I'm not quite sure about that. But I just wanted to scare you a little bit. So make sure you take good care of that. Even actually before that postcard arrived, about a week earlier, I got a separate letter from the Immigration Bureau, which is probably not super common, I think. And the reason is because our family size changed from 2 to 3, and they needed to get proof that that actually happened before giving the final okay, which came a week later after I gave them all those documents, which was great. And so I went back to the office, and because of coronavirus, there was actually, this time you walk in, you took a number for a time slot for you to go back in and take a number to wait to get your visa, which I got. Yay! Japan is kind of a cool place. I love living here, hence why I got this permanent resident visa, as you can see. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, whatever. Criticism? I don't know. Anyway, have a good one!